Yo, what's going on YouTube? And welcome to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and we're taking a look at the Anaheim Ducks today. As they're in the midst of a rebuild, Bob Murray has made that quite clear. Here in 2020, they draft right shot defenseman Jamie Drysdale in the first round. And a couple of the moves we've seen, this is a different roster for the Anaheim Ducks. We'll be taking a look at some of the moves that Bob Murray has made so far this offseason in this video. If you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe down below. And let's take a look at the Anaheim Ducks. Alright, as usual, before I get too far into this video, just want to give a quick plug to our Instagram and Twitter handles at goalline_hockey. Links will be in the description down below as well as throughout the video. And make sure to check out our podcast, which at this point, I'm trying to figure this out because I post all these videos. I make all these videos around the same time. So we had a podcast at this point. It will be either tonight or yesterday based off of when I upload this. Doesn't matter. Every Thursday, we will be having episodes taking a look at the news around the NHL that week. A deep dive into that. Make sure to check that out. All right, so with that out of the way, let's look at the Anaheim Ducks. So the Anaheim Ducks are one of those teams that, most of that West Coast last season really struggled. The Los Angeles Kings in a rebuild. The Anaheim Ducks in a rebuild. And the San Jose Sharks kind of forced into a rebuild based off of how bad they were last year. And they didn't have their first round pick. Good job, Doug Wilson. But we're not looking at them today. We're looking at the team in Orange County. And that's why they got those orange jerseys. The Anaheim Ducks. And the Anaheim Ducks will be, for the majority of the team, it's going to be the same roster, but in different spots and a couple of unique additions, which adds a little bit of flavor to the Ducks team next season. So you Ducks fans out there, we're going to look at that here. So, first line, going to stay the same. Jakob Silfverberg, Adam Henrique, and Rickard Rakell. No changes there. Second line, you got Ryan Getzlaf. That stays the same. Sony Milano, who came in at the deadline last year for the Anaheim Ducks, who I think is a great addition. If he can just become that player, man, he's a Long Island native from Massapequa. I would love to see Sony Milano finally get his payday in the NHL, and he has a chance to do it here with the Ducks. Top 6 with the Anaheim Ducks out in the sun out there in California. Come on, Sonny, come on. Do it for us. Let's go. So he's in the top 6 for the Ducks with Dan Heinen, former Boston Bruin. They signed him this offseason, who I think was a really, really underrated move by the Anaheim Ducks. Excuse me. He came over in that trade last year with Andre Kasha. That was my mistake. So again, another move from last season. Bottom 6, a lot of young guys. We got Max Jones, Sam Steele, and Troy Terry. That is the youth line for the Anaheim Ducks this year. And they have a lot of potential. There's a couple former first round picks there, a couple of pretty talented forwards, and Bob Murray's going to be expecting a lot out of that third line this year. And then the fourth line, we got the grit line, the identity line. You have Nicolas Deslauriers, Derek Grant, and Carter Rowney. So not bad. Then we get to defense. And the Ducks have definitely taken a hit on the defense over the past couple of years. One of the strongest defensive cores in the NHL back from 2015 to, say, 2018. And then they've started to pull away at that, kind of trading out guys like Brandon Montour. The fallback of a guy like Cam Fowler has definitely hurt that a little bit. But you still have Swedish Hampus Lindholm, Josh Manson as your top pair. Cam Fowler, Kevin Shattenkirk, who they acquired this offseason via free agency due to some of that cap space Bob Murray had. And then the third pairing, former Hershey Bear, is always going to have a little soft spot in my heart, Christian Djoos, one of the best names in the NHL as well. Thank you very much. And Jani Hakanpää. I think that's how you say it. Let me know down below the pronunciation so I don't mess that up during the season. Jani Hakanpää. All right? So that's the group for the Anaheim Ducks. Now you look at their situation, some of the guys that they have added, right? You've got Denton Heinen. He's a Swiss Army knife. He could jump in that top 6 like he is right now with Milano and Getzlaf, but he could also jump into the bottom 6. He could play center. He could play left wing, right wing. Very versatile player. He's 25 years old, a little under $3 million, $2.8 million per season for this season, and then he is expected to be a free agent. Now, I don't think it'll get to that point. I think the Ducks will inevitably trade him at the end of this season, see whatever value they could get back for Danton Heinen. If he plays in the top 6, though, he could be a nice addition. He's a good penalty killer, and I'm sure teams via the trade market come next year's trade deadline would be interested in a Danton Heinen. And then we've got left winger Sony Milano, 24 years old, former first-round pick of the Columbus Blue Jackets back in the day. He has $3.4 million for the next 2 years, so it's $1.7 million per season. Very nice and cheap. Bob Murray probably likes that, especially in the rebuild. He has the potential to maybe increase that this year and next year with the Ducks, continue to develop. He'll be 26, getting ready for his prime, so hopefully he's ready for a good payday, but he needs to get things done this year and next year with the Ducks. Now looking at defense, Kevin Shattenkirk, right shot defenseman. They picked him up in free agency, 31 years old, so he's on the back half of his prime. I would say he's on the downward turn from here on out. He signed $11.7 million contract for the next 3 years with the Ducks, coming in at $3.9 per season. That's a little bit much for Kevin Shattenkirk, if I'm going to be honest. We saw how things worked out with him in the Rangers. It worked out well with Tampa, but I don't know. That Tampa's different. Tampa's different than most teams around the NHL, so we'll see how it works out, right? And he's going to be a good veteran piece for this young Ducks team in general. Defense, offense, whatever. I think he's a good addition in that regard, so you have to account for that as well. And the third pairing looks pretty different. Christian Djoos, left shot, 26 years old, $1 million for the next season. So no harm, no foul. If he turns out good, they keep him in. He's more of a bridge defenseman until they get some of the young guys like Jamie Drysdale into the fold down in the next couple of years. Christian Djoos is just a bridge piece in that, as well as Yanni Hakanpää, right shot defenseman, 28 years old, great name, but he's making $750K for this year. Another guy that is a bridge player till a guy like Jamie Drysdale, specifically on that right side of the defensive core, comes into fruition. That's kind of what he is. And the goaltending, we know the situation with the Ducks. It's John Gibson all the way. He's their guy, and he is a huge reason that they have any chance at competing in general. He has just been that good. And you've got Anthony Stolarz, who is the backup, and he's nothing great. He's more of a third goaltender, but they rely on John Gibson. So having him as the backup, really, it doesn't mean that much, because more than likely we're going to see Gibson playing the majority of the season for the Anaheim Ducks. And that's just what he's there for. He's there, and 27 years old in his prime, and he's with the Anaheim Ducks. But listen, I honestly, where the Ducks are, I gotta say I'm impressed with Bob Murray. I think because it seems like with the Ducks, people are like, they're trading another defenseman. How could they trade Manson or Montour or whatever? It's because he's built up a really solid group of defensemen, and they're a defenseman factory. Goaltending factory. We saw what they did with Freddie Anderson. They had to pick between Anderson and Gibson. Obviously, Gibson has worked out quite well. Anderson's worked out pretty well, too, for Toronto in spades. But I really like what the Ducks look like. And the problem here, though, is it's those big contracts. We've seen that really bite other teams in the butt. You know, Shattenkirk at 3.9 per till he's 35. I don't know if I like that. You've got, who are some other ones? I mean, Ricard Raquel, under $4 million for the next 2 years. He's going to get a big payday. Hampus Lindholm, another 2 years at a little over 5. He's going to get another big payday. But then you've got Henrique at 5.8 for the next 4 years. Silverberg at a little over 5. And Getzlaf, this is the final year of his contract, ladies and gentlemen. The captain of the Anaheim Ducks. This may be his last kick at the can, not only for a Stanley Cup, but just in general. So that's a guy to keep an eye on at next year's NHL trade deadline. Maybe we see something happen there. But let me know, Ducks fans, what do you think of the Ducks going into next season? If I'm going to be honest, this isn't a playoff team. They just don't have the depth. They've got a lot of guys that are continuing to develop, which I like to see. But if I'm going to be honest, seeing Danton Heinen and Sony Milano in the top 6, and the defense taking a bit of a hit, I don't know how I feel about their depth. And Gibson's going to get heavily tested this year. So we're going to see how it works. I think Gibson keeps them in it till November, and then I hate to say it, by December and January, I think the Ducks are going to be selling for next year's deadline. And obviously, I just realized I'm crazy because the season will not be starting at that time. But I'm saying I think the Ducks stay in it for half the season. And then once we get to the halfway point, I think they're going to be looking at options for selling at the deadline. So let me know in the comment section down below. Ducks fans, fans around the NHL, with an unbiased opinion, what do you think of the Anaheim Ducks going into this season and some of the moves Bob Murray's made? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, and want to see the latest news around the NHL, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe down below. Thank you so much for watching, and let's go Ducks.